with a notion to revive the cities on the ground of sustainability and competitiveness by adopting state-of-the-art technologies. That's what was the objective, which was probably right. Aim was for better infrastructure and quality of life. That was also probably right. But these are cursory to the total smart city concept. Total smart city concept is much broader, and it wants smarter, not only infrastructure and not only something technology, Wi-Fi, etc. It is much bigger than that. It has to be truly smart. And that is how the planning and implementation of the smart cities, as I would have thought, were in a little weaker foundation to start with. But it picked up later on, no doubt, but time is not enough given to them. And basically, the urban systems, the existing operation and management had really no capacity to absorb this requirement, the smart city requirements. And that's why it has fallen short of what it is today. But obviously, the effort is going on. Now, this slide says what all smart city mission aimed. This is from Ministry of Urban Development website, and it talks about that focus is to be no doubt sustainable, equitable, inclusive, smart development, and identifying the areas where they should start. But much of it was actually required to be provided by the city government, otherwise also without smart city mission. But obviously those could not deliver because of funding and other issues, and smart city came to their rescue, and probably they were trying to do it better in that way. These are again MOUD website, 15 essential elements of smart cities. These were given to guide the cities, what all they can attempt or what all they should try to do. Further, the smart city solutions suggested what they can do. What these are the things that should be tried to make the city smarter. And that's how it proceeded. And these are all, what Mr. Keshavan has been also discussing. So I'm going a little fast on this. And then the smart city mission suggested 4 different types of solutions, or 4 different ways they should attempt to apply the concept. First was retrofitting the existing things to the betterment. City renewal, redevelopment, complete redevelopment of the city or part of the city. City extension, developing in a greenfield development in the border of the city or satellite town or whatever it is. And then, of course, pan-city initiative. In certain aspects, you can take it as a pan-city initiative, and it can be developed in that way. For example, the road network or rail network or metro network of a city. The entire city's metro rail network will be looked into. So like that, that's what was the idea in these 4 concepts. And it is said that cities has to be performed well on 6 characteristics, which Mr. Keshavan also has mentioned, that environment, economy, mobility, people, living, and governance. And then only it will be called smart city. Now, accordingly, British standards has developed certain standards for smart city, for efficient integration of physical, digital, and human systems, how they should be done. Our system, like Bureau of Indian Standards, also started to develop the standards for smart cities, 18,000 series from 2020 onwards, and already 10 standards have been published and more are on the offing. An urban environment can be sustainable and smart when social equity, conservation of the natural environment and its resources, economic vitality and quality of life are achieved, and then only we can call the city to be smarter or better than what it was earlier. Now, some people argue that successful smart cities in developing world is difficult. It is difficult, and they give the reason as it is written here, because the developing nations lack their own policy institutions. They are generally attracted to adopt policy framework or policy instruments established in the West, and that doesn't fit to their environment. And that's what is said to be always in short of what actually is required. And lack of research capability for contextualizing for the smart city requirements in the local environment. Actually, smart cities are supposed to be collecting as well as analyzing a large volume of data through IoTs, Internet of Things, and obviously the cloud computing, open data system, large databases, what has been talked by Mr. Keshavan, those are required to have the smart city going. Otherwise, the smart city will remain like upgraded city, not truly smart city. And that's what is the point mentioned at the start of this slide. Now, examples are there from Europe, like London, Amsterdam, Vienna, Barcelona, Stockholm. They are front runners. And similarly, from the other parts of the world, New York, Los Angeles, Seoul, Melbourne, Vancouver, all these are great smart cities. They started somewhat earlier, and then, of course, they have gone in a very systematic way, probably to achieve certain goals, not probably everything converted to smart cities requirement, but at least they have been able to handle much of the requirements. Now, let us now come to the sustainable part. Now, it is estimated that by 2050, 70% of the global population will be in cities, and less than 2% of Earth's surface is consumed by the cities. And these cities consume 75% of the natural resources available globally. And that's a total, staggering kind of fact, which scares really about the sustainability. The smart city concept has emerged as one of the possible solutions to work against this disparity, and trying to see that even if the cities are required and they have to be there, we make the total global situation or the planet a sustainable one. And commonly used set of characteristics are listed here, which I don't have to read because these have been enunciated a couple of times by Mr. Kesavan. Now, the sustainable and smart, obviously smart policies aimed at sustainable mobility, energy upgradation of the building stock. That is one very important point, and I'm sure Mr. Suresh will be talking about it. The building stock of an urban area is the huge energy consumer, and that we have to convert it to renewable energy sources and other kind of efficient way of using energy, and that will make things much better. In addition to that, obviously, technology innovation, smart governance, and financing are some of the important things that is to be looked into when we think of smart and sustainable. And obviously, future cities will survive by transforming to be smart cities, and green building and smart mobility. These two alone will make a big difference if we are able to achieve them. Because it is said that 70% of greenhouse gases emissions and 60% of energy consumed worldwide are these buildings and transportation systems only. Ingredients of sustainable smart city. A smart city or intelligent city, if we call them, is the smart economy, which has been explained adequately by Mr. Keshavan. Also smart people, which I have been arguing right from the first or second slide. We want to make the people smart. That means disposition of their activities in a smart way, and smart governance. Obviously, transparent, participatory government is required, where everyone can participate in the governance if he wants to. Other requirements, smart mobility, which I have already said is the large contributor of the greenhouse gases and consumption of the energy. And we need to save this planet by making it smart mobility. Smart environment, it is talked about every day, everywhere. It is the order of the day. That's what is required. Without that, we will not survive. Smart living, obviously, if we achieve all the other things, our living will be smarter one. And that's what is called Society 5.0. Now, this is the structure of, obviously, the smart sustainable city model. And all that I have talked about so far, these are inherent in this slide. This shows that only, nothing else. It is all possible by using innovative technologies. And that technology I want to talk to in 2 minutes, in the last 2 slides probably. It is the green and smart sustainable cities. If we want to transition to that, then obviously availability of cutting edge technologies will be required. And these are nothing other than renewable energies, innovative transportation system, Internet of Things, and whatnot. All these advanced technologies will be required. And then one thing of particular importance is the sustainable smart city. For the sustainable smart city is the smart governance. And smart governance is through so many different parameters. Digital democracy, open governance, citizen empowerment, participatory kind of institutions, and extensive urban data, so that we can derive kind of ideas from the online or kind of open source data. And then, of course, there is not a single city, I mean, whether they are selected or not selected as a part of the smart city, everybody these days tries to adopt something smart to get to the level, call themselves smart, focusing essentially on digital technology, environmental sustainability, or any other civic initiatives, etc. So that's how everyone is aspiring to be smarter. And that's what we see all around us. Now, in the second slide of this technology innovation, I would like to say that half of the world's internet users are in Asia alone, because we have the huge population. Technology is the key to unlock the world's power to deliver the SDGs, as well as all these smart, sustainable cities or sustainable developments. Artificial intelligence, blockchain technology, 5G, Internet of Things, everything will be required. All of these will be required if we want to really get to the smart city, to achieve these smarter cities. Obviously, technology-based and data-driven solutions are to be applied, and then only social changes will come. Today, any business is expected to deliver the positive social outcomes and, of course, financial return. Without that, it is not called successful business. And that's what is the situation today. Now, I'm trying to give you here an example of one of the smart cities. I don't want to.
Professor Sikdar, could you conclude within a few minutes? Because
within 2-3 minutes, I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm giving just example of one city without giving you the name. The city is projects delivery. You can see works completed in 25 projects, 66 crores. Works under execution over the last 5-6 years. This is the result of 5-6 years. Works under execution, 36 projects, 764. Works under tendering stage, 22-23. And DPR under preparation and approval, 168 crore. That makes the total 1,022 crores. Now, these are some of the technologies or rather smart city projects they have delivered. Solar panels on government buildings, integrated command and control center, smart classrooms in the schools and colleges. You see road sweeping machine, the sewerage desilting machine, green development under the flyover or open area. So like that, they have done some good thing. But ultimately, we need to get to all these other projects which are yet to be delivered. And that's where probably we'll get something really smarter. Thank you very much, sir.
Professor Sikdar, for that very enlightening talk. Our next panelist is Shri V. Suresh. He is President of Forum for Critical Utility Services, that is FOCUS, former Chairman of the Indian Green Building Council, former Chairman and Managing Director of HUDCO, that is the pioneering institute for housing and urban development in India, for the sake of our Malaysian friends. National Building Code of India. He was Vice Chairman, Housing and Planning Committee, and member of the Smart Cities Committee of the Bureau of Indian Standards. Shri Vasudevan Shri Suresh is presently the chairman of the Indian Green Building Council. He had earlier served as CMD of HUDCO with over 50 years of professional experience in the housing, infrastructure, rural and urban development and built environment sectors. He was a member of the panel for Part 11 of the National Building Code dealing with sustainable development and green buildings. He also served as chairman of IGBC Policy and Advocacy Committee and played a pivotal role in reaching out to various government departments, highlighting that offering suitable policy incentives will go a long way in accelerating the adoption of green buildings in India. He was involved in the design and development of IGBC Green Building Rating System for green cities and green villages. He has a wealth of knowledge on this subject, and he could be considered as probably the foremost person in the country in this. And so I welcome him, and I'm sure his talk will give us a lot of insight into the subject. Shri Suresh.
Very happy. Good afternoon to you, sir, and all the distinguished panelists. And such a pleasure. I hope I'm visible.
Yeah, you are.
Good, sir. It'll be a great pleasure to continue on the presentation after the wonderful presentation by Keshavan, as well as Sikdar Sir, Professor Sikdar Sir. And therefore, it makes my job as much easier because some of those elements where they already covered, I can skip a little. And I will be talking on green technologies and practices for the sustainable, smart, sustainable cities. Let's try to take a global view on this particular subject there. The globe has been the phenomenal amount of population increase from 6.1 billion to 9.3 billion for 2000 to 2050. We are in 2022, we are about 7.3 billion now at this particular point of time. But more importantly, is the red strip which shows how they're going to be the developed countries, the population is going to come down from 1.2 to 1.1 billion, whereas developing, which are the blue side, they're increasing from 4.9 to 8.2 billion. That's 88% is going to be the developing side. So therefore, India itself is a very major component from 32 billion population. It has increased to already 100, we already crossed the billion mark. And the urbanization trend is equally an important aspect. We are touching around 1.35 billion at this point of time. And the urban population is also getting down to 40% level. And that's a major thing of development. But cities are growth engines. That's more important. If you can see the next slide there, they're already developing in a large way. And yeah, thank you. Cities are growth engines. They are recognized to make an impact on the social and economic development at national and local level, contributing nearly around 70% of GDP. Very rightly, that particular contribution to GDP is already been brought out by Sikdar Sir just a few minutes back. Cities are also contributing large scale to jobs, housing and services, productivity and social development in a very large way. And now that's an important thing to see how much it means of the impact for the need for green cities in a large way. Migration all over the world, 70 million per day, increase in urbanization. Well, 80 or 70, there's a figure, different people do it. Sikdar Sir sold about 70% of Earth population to be urban by the time. But Asia, Africa, Latin America, the shift is predominantly coming over there based on the world data, our world data projection that's come just recently on that. Now, in the Indian context, if you look at it, 35% of our current population live, as I said earlier, last figure, a census-based figure, 2021 census not been completed, you'll get the figure of closer to 40% by the time on that. But 100 new cities will be coming by 2030, crossing the million mark. That's an important source which has come from the Indian Urban Awakening data. Plus 200 to 300 new townships are expected in the next 10 years. 70% of India is still to be built in the next decade. That's an important component. And as I said, 590 million urban population by 2030, and India's contribution is going to be substantial there. And the building and construction sector is contributing to the greenhouse gas emission in a large way. And 25 to 40 only on the global energy consumption, 30 to 40% solid waste generation for city-based economy, 30 to 40% of global greenhouse gas emission, and 20 to 30% of the water pollution. So anything that you want to do for any of the city development, you got to deal with that. It's in that context that Government of India in 2015, after the new government came in, they decided to set 100 smart cities to contribute over there. And the Government of India's contribution was 48,000 crores. Equal amount of money was to come from the state government and the city government. Of the order of 1 lakh crore worth of rupee was to come. But that's only the government contribution. With that particular thing, you got to add on in a large way and see how we should do. Resilience is an important thing. India is affected by social calamities, you require floods, cyclones, earthquake, landslide, sea erosion. So one of the major things is resilience to be brought in technology or whatever you do for your buildings and infrastructure. Very important. And you got to do that with respect to the regulatory framework that you already have in the NBC of health safety, fire safety, construction safety, electric safety, environment safety, life safety, and public safety. Very, very important that whatever you do in terms of technology to build either infra or building or whatever, take care of this. We keep on hearing of all types of building collapsing in different parts of the country and abroad. We can't afford to do that. And another next dimension that comes over is beyond safety consideration is the green movement. What do we do with the environment, ecology, energy consumption, quality of life, and sustainable development? There was a mention about Part 11 of NBC, the first in the world to do that, to introduce a chapter on sustainability. We are part of the Indian Green Building Council of CII, which is nearly 21 years old, to be the leader of sustainable built environment. What type of requirements are to be added to make the building sustainable in a very large way? And that's an important message that we have. And let's see how this has been possible in a success story, a very good success story in India, where we have about 30 rating systems available for the holistic green development in all forms of built environment. I'm using all forms of built environment because it's not only buildings to be green, it's a built environment also to be green is equally important, because you'd see all the asset class of buildings of commercial, residential, educational, industrial covered, but built environment coming township at the level of the neighborhood level, in terms of the campus level, in terms of the city level. We are the first one to come in the world on the rating system for the cities over there. And I've been able to contribute substantially, about 8 billion square feet of green footprint coming from a small start in 2001 there. That's about 800 crore square feet of green footprint coming for all types of building, be it the railway station or the metros or the villages or the townships or retail building or township building or hill station development. Everything is covered in this particular area. And we contribute about 90% of all the green building in the country. And more importantly, these are all clearly based on the provisions of the Ministry of Environment, Forest, which is called the Environmental Impact Assessment Study on Land, Air and Water, and the star rating program of the Bureau of Energy Efficiency, Energy Conservation Building Code, and the National Building Code of India. These are all very interesting regulatory framework within which all the sustainability elements are incorporated in a very large way. And our theme is sustainable development. And as a result of this good measurable impact that's coming is whether carbon dioxide reduction, energy saving, how much it will be, water saving is going to be how much, construction waste diverted from landfill, renewable energy quantity, how much new will come, etc. Every million square feet of a green development can lead to that. So when you talk of green technologies, we are talking in terms of everything as a highly collaborative approach with a project life cycle planning. For the first time, life cycle planning has come because the Part 11 brought in not only capital costs required, but also maintenance costs around the life cycle of the building, and taking informal decision making, right information at the right time, improve overall quality, and get us, and more importantly, using BIM. These are all very important aspects. How do you deal with the digital construction framework for smart solution as an enabler for sustainable development? And this will cover right from the design stages, construction stages, completion stages, and operation stages as well. Building upon that would be the next steps that we can work on, and that will be on the building material product. Green technologies going to evolve. Green building products and blocks have to come. These are days where your carbon footprint to be reduced, and building materials contribute in a very large way. Your cement, steel, glass, aluminium all consume enormous amount of energy there. You have to bring it down. So the Green Pro rating or the eco labeling for new building materials is an important one. 2100 project under CII done. Our idea is to be sustainable life cycle enhancement using of industrial and agricultural waste material. The new products have got a less and less of carbon footprint reduction, less and less of energy consumption is a very important. So any green technology that in construction you have to deal with the building blocks to be done. Fly ash from thermal power stations, as well as using phosphogypsum from fertilizer factory, and also red mud from the aluminium factories, whatever. There are so many coming on that. We can't open out at this point of time, but keep this also as an important element. Technologies are building materials and component there. And once you talk of the cities there, you have two types of thing. The new cities which can be done entirely in new area. That means your clean slate available. So that's called a greenfield cities coming. But you have to deal with the existing cities also to be made into green over there. So you should have a strategy to cover both these. So IGBC rightly brought out from 2014, 15, and 16 onwards the right rating. The first rating was a greenfield project because large number of new greenfield projects are new land, new development in terms of social transit, air, water, energy done. But then we found the moment the smart cities came over there, all of them, including the 500 Amrut cities, they're all existing cities there. They are not new cities there. So you got to improve upon. Sikdar Sahib has rightly brought some of those areas. You have to retrofit, strengthen, upgrade, better water, better sanitation, better sewerage, better waste management, better transportation. So you already have a framework, excepting a small area. It's called the area-based development, where about 5 to 10% of the area, we can do all the best models coming on that. And then we also have 10% of Indian cities, all the hill areas. How do you deal with that? So these three framework documents are very, very important to provide adequate water, a good electric supply, sanitation, best possible thing, including sewerage and others, solid waste management, efficient urban mobility and public transport. Housing is an important component in robust IT connectivity. This has been brought both by Presidents of Keshavan as well as Sikdar Sahib in a very right way, the environment to deal with the e-governance and related one. And the most important thing is a green cities assessment matrix has come over there of cities eco-vision, land use planning, health and well-being, sustainable mobility, water, sanitation, infrastructure. All those details are identified in the president one after another. And this also has got to be smart in terms of safety and security, e-governance, command control center was brought out, smart parking, smart bus stops, smart infrastructure in terms of the bike sharing, and other ones, citizen services. This again, people, smart citizens, how do you deal with that? And real-time performance tracking, city-based dashboard required through automatic tracking for all these. So green and smart together becomes an important component there. So key features of some of those rated ones which you do is a mixed land use component of walk to work, commercial, residential, retail, transit-oriented development to facilitate sharing of infrastructure, reducing the urban sprawl, reducing the time, water management, very, very important, integrated water management that can cover not only the 100% of the sewage and sludge to be recycled, to be reused in a big way for various requirements. A zero liquid discharge is a major thing, 100% rainwater harvesting, every drop of water to be conserved is a big thing. Next one is going on waste management on zero solid waste in terms of biodegradable as well as non-biodegradable, toxic, and also biomedical and other waste there. The whole theme is waste to wealth, trash to cash, refuse to resource. The whole cycle, the funnel is there. How do you deal with collection, including segregation, transportation, treatment, and bring it down to a situation that every drop of that waste is utilized. So smart cities are supposed to provide that. Mobility is a very important component of reducing the fossil fuel, and there were BRTS, monorail, light rail, metro rail and company, any of them will be important. World-class non-motorized infrastructure, footpath, bicycle lanes, electric vehicle ecosystem, 20% to be brought in, fuel, biodiesel, ethanol to be brought in, eco-friendly community practices in terms of parking areas, shaded with solar PV, as well as charging one. Design for maximum green cover is another major component for the heat island effect we brought in there. Like Singapore today is a city within a garden. 45% is the green area. How do you deal with that, including the issues on urban agriculture to be brought back in a major 9 square meter per person should be the green area. Maximum energy efficiency brought in over there, be it for the existing building or new building or green landscape or green schools or factories or homes, everywhere to bring savings of 40 to 50% energy. So all your buildings are designed with energy efficient features in line with the energy conservation building code. Very, very infrastructure issue. So this is a very major component, bringing renewable energy as a very major issue as against fossil fuel one. The Honorable Prime Minister announced that by 2030 in the COP26 that 50% of India's energy would be through renewable. 550 gigawatt of energy will be there. And this is an area into which we are going to work in a very intense manner to work towards the options for energy, renewable energy, be it on solar or wind or related one. And let's just see how some of these features have got into it. Dholera is one of those large city which is coming out over there, which is a platinum rated one with sustainable city with a green infrastructure, roads and underground, all those dedicated utility ones are very important. That means you don't put in all level road, etc. And potable water desal plan, including the CETP and STP for recycling every drop water, and the flood plans to be taken care in a big way, solid waste to transfer and disposal, and power through generation. An industrial city of the order like Sri City, which will also see cities can also be for different characters. How do you deal with the growth of such city, and also in a big way? And here we have covered large number of features. If you see the next slides there, in terms of sustainable water management of not only the secondary source backup, including the tertiary source, what type of initiatives we can work into that particular area. Interesting one. Similarly, robust utility network connecting every plot, as I just told there, the type of treatment plants and the primary, secondary, and tertiary treatment related one coming down to each of the area, and how the recycle component is utilized for various purposes, and also utilizing the value of water, measuring that particular thing in a right thing, including utilizing that. Sustainable community is another major component in terms of large-scale development, progressing towards carbon neutral status, internal solar plants, solar street lighting, and traffic control system, which are controlled there, and 100% sewage recycling, and tens and thousands of trees planted for the expanding the green cover. Mahindra World City, another major component, transforming urban landscape into creating system, including all the social facilities. Equally important thing is the people to be centered. What type of things on education, recreation, other related facilities are also created. Healthcare is very important after COVID situation. How do you do that? And existing preservation habitat, especially for existing cities, how do you deal with that without destroying that? How do you still deal with that? More so the natural water bodies, ponds and lakes, to bring it back into life into a very large way, and also expanding this particular thing. And more important, food security is a very major component, which is also now attracting everybody's attention. How can we deal with that particular component? Also be part of the smart city component. Some of them are already incorporating this particular issue in a big way, and all the sustainable community in terms of the biogas plants or solar power generation, or the LED lit street lighting, or recycled water landscaping, as well as wastewater for other related problems. Now, if that's the thing that we have done for new area, existing cities are a problem area. I told you all your 100 smart cities will come into this category there. So that means you have to take an existing situation on ecology and preservation, citizens' welfare, land use, city transportation, infrastructure, efficiency, innovation. And we identified 25 green city indicators. This is very interesting. This will be a wonderful opportunity for us to build upon. Ecology, as well as preservation, citizens' welfare, land use, city transportation, and infrastructure. Each of those blocks will give you what can be done for that. Like the smart cities that we have guidelines for that brought out. Rajkot is one of the first cities which is a smart city, which has got a platinum rated one. It's fantastic. It's not an easy thing to do, but when you do 100% LED street lighting, 8.5 million kilowatt per hour saving, or your power generation would 55.6 million kilowatt per hour through solar plant, waste to energy plant of 1.2 million kilowatt per hour. That means you are developing a city which is smart and livable, and you are able to deal with the particular blue and green infrastructure. So green alone is not a word. Water related things are equally important. 100% water supply coverage, consumer metering, 24/7. Very rare cities, India cities are 24/7. Water coming, and how do you deal with that particular rejuvenation of all the lakes to be done? That's a blue component there. Increase the city's water table, increase the city's green cover by 25%. So you have a new label called blue and green infrastructure coming. Of course, integrated solid waste management with 1,000 ton per day plant of waste to energy. I told a little earlier that waste to wealth is a very important component. How do you deal with that, including the biodegradable waste through 5 TPD plant? So every smart city has got to deal with the particular one, including the inert and other hazardous waste. They have a separate files to deal with the construction demolition waste related one. So therefore, all these are given marks for dealing with the particular thing on a 100-point rating scale. If you're able to get beyond 70, that's when the highest level of rating will go. The new town, Calcutta, has also attempted to do that in Rajarhat in a very big way of future-ready cities there, barrier-free, pedestrian-friendly street mountain, which are barrier-free, designed for all. And that's an important component there. Bicycle station, solid waste man, transport vehicle, best of real-time information as and when being provided, citizen being informed about those things are equally important component in that. Equally important is the city water management on all aspects of the water in the drinking water segment, as well as in the wastewater segment. How do you deal with the city water cycle is an important component that we got to think in terms of utilize. We want it to be like Singapore, where 100% of the water is recycled, and they call the new water, NEWATER. The W is common. Every drop of water is recycled. The zero liquid discharge component will come. Every smart city has to work towards that. Where are we now? Are we doing very well? We must be on the scale going from 5 out of 10 to 6 or 7, etc., or going towards 8 out of 10. E-mobility is going to be a very major component because they are going to be an important contribution to your greenhouse gas emission. All your buses to completely change from diesel to other related options which are available. E-mobility will also cover the bus-based charging station to be brought for offices everywhere, and these charging and vehicles are also undergoing very major change, including on the two-wheeler and other related component. So e-mobility will be a major component in addition to what we do for metro. So I'm trying to indicate a three-pronged strategy here. What can we do in this particular thing over there? The city, 24 city. One is a pan-city manner. Cities can plan, implement green measures for entire city and take policy intervention. Second, by selecting specific activation area. I told you area-based development. Sikdar Sahab also told the last slide on that. The new area in every smart city, about 5 to 10% area is coming under that, where you can really plan and show good models, what all things that we can do in that particular. Then specific application measures, which can be done for solar, thermal, LED, lighting, cool roof, etc. Specifically, depending upon cities, we can do that. And what are the benefits of the city and the people? Air quality improvement in terms of PM 2.5, PM10. And this is one of the very major issue, air quality improvement. India is in a bad NOx, SOx, everything together. What are we doing for the increased urban cover? 9 square meter per person. I told you what do we do? Energy demand, 30 to 50% energy saving to be brought in over there. And how do you ensure the type of saving that can come? Water efficiency to the 30 to 40%. Waste segregation in a very large way. E-government, BIM to be used, BMS to use, IoT to be used. The integrated command control center for ease of all transaction. How do you deal with the governance aspect to deal with all the services required by people to be given, and as most importantly, citizens participate. If you do all that, it's going to enhance the quality of life. And this is it's a big job. Governance will be a very major area into which you're coming on that. Then if you do that by 2050, we are going to get into a very major area. Or if today we got 40 billion square feet, globally, we'll get to about 100 billion square feet of green footprint coming over there by 2040. Green building materials and products where green technologies are coming, that can emerge into a $360 billion component. I mean, imagine we need to do the 9.3 billion the world over, but I'm only trying to indicate those portions where we are doing that. We need 3 times more resources than we currently use there. So how do you optimally, efficiently, effectively use the resources? An important point, correct. An important point that was brought out was the building back better. We went through 2 bad years of 2020 and 2020. The COVID has completely struck everybody. We got into it in a big way. It's not enough. Infrastructure, water, energy is not enough. You got a new dimension of infection coming over there. So how do you deal with that in your city development? So we brought in the document in 2020 on compacting COVID-19 green buildings. Air conditioning, an important component, fast-track emergency facility for treating COVID patients, and also healthcare rating, a 1.0 rating. Now, very important component. This is applicable to large number of spaces where you are using infection spread can happen into public spaces, bank spaces, hotels, hospitals, office spaces, hospital, etc. So stay safe, stay protected. So what are the technology, green technologies you have to bring in to take care of infection as an important issue? Keshavan did mention about that in the last but one slide. I'm happy he mentioned, but I have already started putting in that. Now comes the next big leap coming is the net zero mission. Under the whole development of the COP26 agenda is working towards the net zero mission. So to start with that, we started work on this particular thing, and we got the first document, net zero energy, already tried and tested at building level, net zero water, ZLD coming, net zero waste document, and a framework for the net zero carbon. And these are very, very important initiatives that has been done with good success. We had to build upon that. And based on that, we have launched a net zero mission on 22nd, today is 22nd, but February the 22nd, April 2021, World Earth Day, we launched a mission for net zero. Over 320 companies are already joined this particular movement or working towards transforming into a net zero net zero mission covering all these aspects in a large way. This is along with the World Green Building Council. We are working in this particular area, and this is going to be a major thrust area. And then building upon that are the next level of a net zero carbon buildings together. That won't be easy. Even though developed countries have put 2050, China has put us 2060, we are putting at India's 2070, as the Honorable Prime Minister told in COP26. It is not easy because you got to cover not only the building level, you have to deal also transportation level, your energy generation level, so many areas where the carbon dioxide emission is coming over there. You have to deal with that particular canvas. We require a larger time period. That's why 2030, we gave that, India gave that particular mission of 550 gigawatt of renewable energy, fossil fuel, less by 50%. That will really set the trend for going forward. Let's build on that. And that will take us to the, if you sum up, primarily building sector, innovative, integrated, and coordinated design approach. That's important. And now all the disciplines have to work together. Civil, mechanical, electrical, MEP people, everybody, transportation people, infrastructure, they all have to work together and not work in silos. Green products and equipment to be used over there. I told about building materials will undergo a very, very major change of the new building blocks for the year. The green and clean technologies for water, waste management, energy, etc., is going to be another major one. And as again brought out well by Keshavan, policy and advocacy from the government is an important call. If it comes over there, it'll help. And then we want green education to come. Multidisciplinary, architects, engineers, planners, MEP people, all our IITs and all that. Are they talking about this? No. We discussed All India Council of Technical Education to see how green education can be brought into all the syllabi of architects, planners, engineers, mechanical, electrical, to bring all these things. And last and most important, awareness dissemination leading to people's movement. It has got to be made a people's movement. If all this we do, we will definitely charter and pave the way for India to demonstrate world-class infrastructure and also going in a sustainable way with the type of development. And India to be number one in the green footprint with 10 billion square feet, and India at 75 is one of the important prime areas that we want to do it. We hope we will be able to achieve that. And one of the mantras for the decade is going to the green path is resilient in terms of all the disasters and sustainable in terms of all the environment, technology practice. If you do that, that's the only sure way forward. I just want to show 4 more slides with your permission, Chairman. It's a wonderful document that we have brought out on green cities. I'll take 1 minute more. 1 minute. Okay.
No hurry.
Yeah, 1 minute.
You can continue.
Yeah, good. IGBC encourages cities to, this is a wonderful document that we done on green cities, the very same theme that you have brought out over there. How can we make that happen? It's a beautiful compilation that we brought out over there of encouraging the cities to adopt SDG-driven sustainable urbanization strategy and addressing the national priorities of energy security, water security, food security, air quality, green cover, and waste management. It's a wonderful document we would like to share with this particular thing. And this again, as I said, will have the green cities indicators. Go one indicators. Next slide. The one back. Yeah, the green cities assessment matrices are going to be a very important component. How we can really put that into operation for various situations. And then based on that, some of those best practices that I just shared with you is available detail in all the slides there, as you see whether what we have done in Rajkot or Calcutta, various things. And beyond buildings, which are the new ones coming, the new smart cities of Bhopal, Bangalore, Bengaluru, Pune, Jabalpur, and all these people are also lined up. About 16 of those smart cities are already wanting to go green. So it's very interesting that sustainable green cities, we want to make that. Smart cities, they want to make it sustainable. The only path is using green technologies. Green technologies for all the elements of development that we have to do that. If you do that particular thing over there, I'm sure we'll be able to achieve the type of, the target or the goal that we have set for us. I'll stop at this point of time, Chairman. Thank you very much. And to Institute of Engineers, India and Malaysia for the opportunity for us to share this. Thank you. I'll be happy to take any questions if there is time.
Uh, Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Suresh, for that excellent presentation, which has your usual energy, zest, and go-getting style. And I'm sure it has been an excellent source of information and education to all our viewers. We are just on time. As I had said at the earlier in my starting remarks, that we have people from both India and Malaysia and other places where WFEO national members are there who are participating. And because of the time difference, there will be places like, say, in Malaysia, where it'll be almost 7:30 now. So though I would have liked to have a question and answer session, I think there have been quite a lot of questions which the authors have, or the speakers have answered. I've been seeing those, and the remaining will pass on to you and pass back to the concerned.
We can take a few maybe.
Okay.
I'm just asking, just suggesting in case anything.
Yeah,
We have three of us can take one question each or something like that. We'll be happy.
Yeah. Could the host provide for that?
Yes, sir.
Q box contains many.
Yeah, already there have been a few, and few have been answered already. Yes, please, Secretariat, kindly take one question each.
So one question is from Dr. Ram Prakash N. He has mentioned that can a few words be said about public defense of game plan, systems and procedures for smart city programs? And he has also posed the second question: what is envisaged for periodic review and course corrections? This is from Dr. Ram Prakash N.
I think now if the answer, one answer can be done, is a very important thing. The real-time data is very, very important, because way in which rainfall, the climate change has really brought substantial amount of change with respect to what is the data available earlier. Earlier data is not enough in terms of the capacity for all cities to get flooded. So how do you deal with the real-time data of the latest information that we have and change the design system in terms of hydraulic path clearance? And this is a very important message. All even developed countries as well as developing countries are suffering this particular thing. And that is a very good point he has indicated. And the smart city design teams have been asked to go through that particular thing into real-time data. Ram Prakash, I want to assure you that this is an important component in terms of the issues. That's why the resilience is an important component. Sustainability is on one side, all the environment, ecology, all those energy will come there. But the resilience component to deal with all the natural calamities and the man-made calamities are important component. You've got to really take the latest information data. And we have been visiting, and I'm sure Keshavan will agree that we have similar problems in all the geographies that we have in neighboring countries, visitation by various natural and other calamities there. So the answer to the question is yes, we got to deal with that. Unless Keshavan wants to add something.
Yeah, Mr. Keshavan, would you like to say something? Mr. Keshavan?
You are muted.
You are mute.
Sorry, I was on mute. Mr. Sri V. Suresh, I certainly agree with what you said. And real-time data is definitely important, especially going forward for design aspects of engineering, and with the advent of big data now. Okay, that those things are very much becoming accessible and easier. Big data where you manage large amounts of real-time data, GIS, remote sensing. So this is playing an important role in future planning, especially when it comes to infrastructure planning. And then simulations. There's a lot of simulations which are getting better and better, especially with big data and use of stronger supercomputers. Yeah, so we are able to predict better in that sense. But though some of the natural calamities are still, recently we had a huge flood in Malaysia, in Central City. So that was unexpected for. It could be like, once in 100 years.
But that will keep on coming now regularly.
Yeah, and it's becoming more rampant. 100 years becoming 50 or 25 years. So there's needs to be relook at all this, especially citywide planning, flood mitigation. You are having smart tunnels and so on for flood mitigation. But there's so much we can plan. But if we keep overlooking environmental factors, I think the more you plan with no disrespect to the environment, there is never ending. There has to be a balance. Yeah, so I think that
Yeah, good. There's also one last question. How are you going to ensure they are being monitored? That's also a good point that has come out over there. I thought Niti Aayog has done a wonderful job of all the 24 indicators that I talked about, that city level matrix that is there. They are trying to assess what is the mechanism to see effectiveness and implementation of sustainability. And the only alternative is to go through that particular model, and they have done that regularly. That information is being gathered year on year. The data is being given on the sustainability matrix. Where do the cities stand? So there is some good news coming to Mr. Nakrani. He's raised his query on that. I just thought I'll clarify the information. The Niti Aayog's work is phenomenally good in this particular thing of collecting information from various cities on all those indicators, be it on water, energy, waste management, impact on air quality, land, etc. And there's even the European cities are doing that particular thing. This is also a global model that's coming. So it's a good information. I'm sure even the ASEAN countries, I'm sure you must be also utilizing. But as a good question, I just thought it would be necessary to do that.
Yeah,
Thank you,
for
sir.
the sake of our international participants, Niti Aayog is the planning commission in India.
Yeah, correct. I should have said that. Thank you, sir.
So I think we can now go towards the end, which is the vote of thanks. We've had an excellent 2-hour session. I'm particularly thankful to the speakers who have given great insights into this and have taken a lot of pain to prepare excellent presentations, which I'm sure all of us have enjoyed. I'm also thankful to the President, Institution of Engineers, India, Dr. Hemant Thakreji, and the President, IEM, the past presidents, council members, office bearers of IEI, IEM, WFEO colleagues, the Secretary and Director General, and the Secretariat of Institute of Engineers, India, and this very large audience, which has been hovering around anything between the 110 to 120 mark on Zoom, over and above the others on YouTube, which, considering the time differences, is an excellent audience. I thank you all for having attended. Again, I thank everyone, particularly the speakers, and I'm sure we will be having a few more of these, and we would welcome your comments to the Secretariat of WFEO CIC, which is the IEI headquarters in Calcutta. And thanks everyone, and have a great evening and a great time ahead. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much. Suresh sir, you are muted.
I think I was saying as a participant over there, joining with Keshavan and Sikdar Saab to Rathod Saab, thanking for the opportunity given. And we enjoyed it as much. I hope you people enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank
Thanks
you
for
very
the-
much.
Thanks for the opportunity, and yeah, we will keep this going, and keep in touch,
Yeah.
and probably more talks like this can be arranged.
Yeah,
again,
both
Sharing,
thank you
sharing of
to-
knowledge and sharing of data that we have. Yeah, very good.
Yeah. Again, thank you to the Institution of Engineers, Malaysia, and to the WFEO, CIC, and the Secretariat of, and the President and Office Bearers of IEI. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can we leave now?
Sure, sir.
Thank you. We'll build on it.
Good night, sir.